Well, look at here. Looks like we're going to have a white Christmas. If not anything else, we're going to have a white Christmas party. Uh, Christmas party today, Sunday, at my son's house. So I think the snow will last through Sunday. Today's being Saturday here. Christmas, though, I don't know. The temperatures are supposed to go way up above freezing this week. Get back up almost to 50 degrees again. Works for me, because I'm not a winter person. At least I don't have to shovel. I mean, the sidewalk melted itself off this morning, even though it's only 25 degrees. My stepping stones are melted off. And you can see the tire tracks in the driveway, so nobody will get lost coming up the driveway and end up out in my yard either. Oh boy. Well, I've been going through the wood trying to keep the house warm. I'm going to make a pie to take over to my son's, and I buy these Pillsbury pie crusts. I get them to room temperature, and then I'll unroll them and I'll put them in the pie. And then I always get a foil pan, because that way I don't have to worry about bringing a dish home. I can leave that there. They can finish eating the pie. What am I going to make? Strawberry rhubarb pie. Where did I get the rhubarb? Oh, rhubarb isn't even in season. Well, when I went to the store, I went to 3 different stores, and I ended up going to this one major grocery store. And I said, I don't suppose you have any rhubarb? And she said, oh, that's not in season right now. We don't have it. And I said, all right, I guess I'm going to have to come up with a different idea for a pie. And she goes, wait a minute. I think we have some in the frozen section. So she went back to the frozen section. Sure enough, look at this. Nature Blessed from Kalama, Michigan. Rhubarb. It's flash frozen. So I had this whole bag full of it, enough to make 2 pies. And I dumped enough in here for my 1 pie to thaw, and it's thawed out nicely, or almost thawed out. So now I gotta slice up my strawberries, because it's going to be a strawberry rhubarb pie. One of my very favorites. I found a couple containers of strawberries, so I'm going to cut those up, and then I'll put the sugar and everything in there. I'll roll the pie crusts out, get them in the pan, and put the filling in there, put the lid on, throw it in the oven. Pies are simple, really, when you do this route. You know, I'm not rolling out the dough either. I buy these ones, make it super easy, and these are delicious. I mean, they're going to be surprised when they find a strawberry rhubarb pie on the table. Yeah. I got a moldy one. You get that. Strawberries aren't really in season this time of year, so you're lucky if you can find some decent ones, which these aren't bad. They might be a little sour, but when you put them in the pie, they're going to be perfect. Nothing comes in more handy in my kitchen than this old classic Betty Crocker's cookbook. I can go right to it. Right to the desserts, and right there, fresh rhubarb pie. And my wife even left some notes there for me. So you follow the Betty Crocker recipe, you can't go wrong. One thing I like to do is I put the Crisco in the bottom of the pan, and I use a like a lunch bag so I don't get it on my hands, and I'll just get a scoop of that Crisco and just make sure I coat the pan. That way the crust isn't going to stick to the pan. And just get that coated real good. Get a little more if you need it. sides and get it up on the rim too. You don't want your pie crust to stick when you go to scoop out a piece of pie. You want it to be really nice looking. No mess, no fuss. Throw that away. Then this is easy. I take the pie crust out and just kind of work the edge loose there where it's glued down. And then you just kind of unroll it. And look at there, you got a whole pie crust. Lay that right in the pan. Kind of line it up a little, stretch a little bit. So you can line it up so that it at least comes up to the edge of the pan. And then I hold the edge and I kind of push down and stretch it. And just kind of keep working around until my crust is all set in, and I'm going to push it up a little bit because it's kind of short on this side. Just keep working it around. And there we got the bottom crust ready to go. I put my sugar and flour in here, and so then I got to mix that up. Mix it up well. Looks like a lot to go in that pie crust, but I'll tell you what, you can heap it up because once it cooks it shrinks down. Oh, one more thing I got to put in here that I forgot. I get this tapioca, Minute Maid tapioca in the box. It's like a powder form of tapioca. And then I put like a table, so this is a half, I put 2 half tablespoons in here. And that way it's not going to be all juicy and runny, you know. The tapioca will suck up some of the liquid because the strawberries and the rhubarb are going to be very liquidy. And then I'll just keep blending all this together until I get it blended really well. Make sure the flour and the sugar's all mixed together evenly. See, there's still more down in the bottom there that you need to pull up. And I just keep turning it and mixing it. That's going to be about perfect. Some of them tumbled out. Get in there. And then I just kind of arrange them a little bit, make sure they're not hanging over the edge, but up to the edge. Just kind of work them down a little bit. Fill in the little holes here and there. That's perfect. Look at that. Make sure I get that extra sugar in there for extra sweets. One thing they tell you to do in the recipe is to put some pats of butter on top. So you gotta, you know, sometimes I'll forget to do that. And I get my crust on and I'm like, uh-oh, I forgot to put my butter on there. So yeah, so that's enough. Just, you know, some pats of butter that'll soak in there. And then we can put the top crust on. So take it out of the bag, and we're going to unroll it. And just line it up and lay it on there. Covers all the edges. Then what I like to do, I'm going to take a little fork and I go around the edges. I'll show you here. I go around the edges and I kind of push down with the fork and crimp that, and it kind of seals the edges in there. And then I'm going to go all the way around the pie, crimping down the edges. Push it down pretty firmly. Don't worry about if there's crust hanging out over the edge, because we'll trim that off. There, my oven is up to temperature already, so we're about ready to go in. Almost there, and we're done. Now I just take a knife and I go around the edge and just trim that edge off. And then you got a wad of extra dough. You can make a cookie out of it if you want. I just throw it away. It doesn't do me any good. The next thing I like to do, find the center and do like a little star in the center, and then I just kind of come up with a slice, another slice. That'll let the air, let the steam out, you know, while it's cooking. And then I do a couple down here too, this way. Alright, one more trick I'm going to do before that goes in the oven. This really puts the icing on the cake. I take some sugar and I just start sprinkling sugar. Especially make sure to get it out on that outer crust there, so that, you know, the crust is really delicious when it's almost like candy when it gets that sugar on it. And we go around there, just sprinkling that sugar on there. Sprinkle a little sugar on there. A little more on top too. I like to make sure that's pretty well covered. That just really gives it a nice look when it's all done out of the oven. Gives it that sugary glaze on top, and it just adds an extra bit of sweetness to the pie. Now here's another kind of important trick. And I've trimmed this foil into a strip and kind of folded them together. And I kind of made this long strip of foil. And I work it around the edge so I cover up the edge of the crust. Kind of a pain in the neck. It's one of the more difficult challenges. And it can be challenging, but I've done this a number of times, and I kind of know the tricks to it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then just go around. And that'll keep your crust from burning in the oven. Because if you don't do that, your crust around the edges can get burned. Ready to go in the oven. I've got my oven set to 425. So I'll put the pie in there. I'm going to set the timer for 45 minutes. When I check it, I open the door. If the pie's bubbling, it's oozing out, that means it's pretty much done. I can take it out and cool it, and that job's done. Oh yeah, ready to go. Look at that. Perfect, perfect. And then I can peel that foil off of there. And look at that edge. It's just nice and golden brown. Beautiful pie. I'll let that cool. And then I can put the lid on. It comes with a plastic lid I can put on it after it's cooled. And that's ready to go for... Here's a sign of the times. I've been getting these Christmas cards. They're like a postcard. You know, they put their family picture on there. From the Sanders. Another one from the neighbors. So yeah, and then I finally get a regular Christmas card from my cousin, and that's got a postcard picture inside of it. I used to send out Christmas cards, and I sent out like 50 Christmas cards, and it costs a little bit of money to do that, but people don't do it anymore. I mean, I used to line the sides of the door here with Christmas cards. I still have this Christmas card that my mother got me. And I love this, and it's still up here. My mom passed away a year ago. So I've left that one up there. Well, next week, if it warms up a little bit, I got to get my truck to the car wash. It is just covered with mud and salts. Now, I have used a couple different products on this in the past after I wash it. I might have to wait till spring to do it again. But I started out with this Mother's Instant Detailer, California Gold. It works pretty good. It puts a nice little shine on things. I've used it on the bike. I used it on my truck. I used it on her car. But then I went ahead and I did a little research, and I tried using this F11. Now this stuff, really expensive ceramic coat, and it says you can put it on everything, you know, the interior, exterior. It almost looks like milk. I spray it on. You don't need very much at all. You spray it on and then you buff it out. And I did my whole truck back in the spring. But I don't know how long that stuff lasts, how long it stays on there. And I'm sure that by now it's kind of worn off just from the weather and stuff. Because, you know, the dirt's sticking to it. I mean, it's supposed to rinse right off with water once you put that on there. The dirt's supposed to roll right off with water. And it doesn't do that now. So, yeah, I'd put it on the bike quite a bit. Now here's a question for you. Can you put too much ceramic coat on your paint? Does it come to a point where you have to strip it off and start over again? And if so, how do you strip it off? Do you have to buy a specific stripper that takes ceramic coat off? And was that going to damage your paint? Some of you guys might be more experts about the paint than me. I just like to have a shiny vehicle and a nice shiny clean bike. But anyway, I'm gonna go for another product now this time, because this F11's just way too expensive, and I'm not sure that it's all that it's banged up to be. But there is a product that was recommended by, it's a ceramic coat by Turtle Wax, and I'm gonna get that. It's a lot cheaper. I think I paid like 19 bucks for a spray bottle like this. Whereas this was like ungodly expensive. You don't want to spend that much money on that. That's my opinion. It works well. It puts a heck of a nice shine on things, but that's a lot of money, you know, to put in something like that. Anyway, I'm going to use it on the tractor too, and put a nice ceramic coat on that so it cleans up easy. I haven't touched it since I got it in the garage here, but it needs a good cleaning. It's been sitting outside for Well, probably a whole year, so it needs to be washed down. When the garage warms up for me, uh, which it's not bad in here today. It's 35 degrees indoors and it's 25 outdoors. So 25 is tolerable in here if you're doing something, but I certainly can't do any washing or waxing or anything like that when it's this cold. Well, cats, Christmas coming up here in a couple days. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas, a happy holiday, and right after that comes a brand new year, 2025. So hopefully I'll talk to you before then, at least maybe the day after. Yeah, I mean, you know, with the holidays, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I know you guys are probably busy too. For those of you that don't have family and that you're on your own, like me, I'll probably spend Christmas by myself, Christmas Day proper. But, you know, I still get to do stuff with family and stuff in between, so I'm not too worried about that. It's just another day, really, with a date on a calendar. So Christmas is a time to spend with family, friends, and, you know, just share the love. I'd like to share my love with you guys. Thank you for supporting me. I pray for you guys, and I ask the same from you. Thanks a lot, you guys. Have a wonderful Christmas, and until next time, I will catch all of you later.